Good evening, everyone. At this time, I would like to call the Wildwood Elementary School project meeting to order. This is meeting number 35. It is Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. The start of the meeting is at 6:30. I do apologize for starting just about 2 minutes past that time frame. This is a hybrid meeting, so we do have a quorum. And at this time, I am going to turn it over to Vivian to conduct the roll call, please.
Thank you. Diane Allen.
Here.
Greg Bendel.
He's not able to attend.
Thank you. Kate Bissell.
Here.
Kevin Kyra.
Yeah.
Michael Camosio.
Here.
Justin Couchet.
Here.
Marianne Galezzo.
Here.
Nicholas Golden.
Here.
Christine Holleran. John Holloway. Dennis Kelly.
Here.
Lily Maselli.
Here.
Paul Melorani.
Here.
Craig Minor.
Here.
Christine Murray. Judy O'Connell.
Here.
Christine Pendergast.
Here.
David Ragsdale.
Here.
Paul Ruggiero.
He will be absent this evening.
Thank you. Stacy Scott. Eric Schlegel.
Eric will be forthcoming. He's at a town meeting.
Dr. Thompson.
Yes.
Stephen Turner. And myself, yes, we have a quorum.
Thank you. So all of you should have received a committee email from Tracy Ingersoll that contained the draft of the meeting minutes for June 3rd and June 10th of 2025, which were the school building committee meetings. They were included in the meeting packet, as I mentioned, that was distributed on Friday, July 18th. So obviously, if you can please refer to the meeting packet, those are the two items that are labeled number 2. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the date of June 3rd, 2025. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Diane Allen.
Yes.
Kate Bissell.
Yes.
Kevin Kyra.
Yes.
Michael Camosio.
Abstain.
Justin Couchet.
Abstain.
Marianne Galezzo.
Yes.
Nicholas Golden.
Yes.
Dennis Kelly.
Yes.
Lily Maselli.
Abstain.
Paul Melorani.
Yes.
Craig Minor.
Yes.
Judy O'Connell.
Yes.
Christine Pendergast.
Yes.
David Ragsdale.
Yes.
Eric Schlegel.
Yes.
Dr. Thompson.
I will abstain.
Stephen Turner, and myself, yes.
And then Vivian, if I can just kindly note that Town Manager Slagle is here at the meeting.
I did.
Thank you. So moving on to the next set of minutes, which is for June 10th of 2025, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from this school committee, building committee meeting. Would anyone like to make that motion?
So.
I'll take a motion from Mr. Golden, second from Diane
Second.
Allen. Discussion. May I ask for a roll call vote, please?
Absolutely. Diane Allen.
Yes.
Kate Bissell.
Yes.
Kevin Kyra.
Yes.
Michael Camosio.
Abstain.
Justin Couchet.
Abstain.
Marianne Galezzo.
Yes.
Nick Golden.
Yes.
And Dennis Kelly.
Yes.
Lily Maselli. Abstain. Paul Melorani.
Yes.
Craig Minor.
Abstain.
Judy O'Connell.
Yes.
Christine Pendergast.
Yes.
David Ragsdale.
Yes.
Thank you. Eric Schlegel.
Yes.
Dr. David Thompson.
I will abstain again.
And myself, yes.
Thank you. Moving on to number 3 in the agenda, which is under the administrative category. I am pleased to have this on the agenda this evening, which is in OPM introduction. As many of you know, Left Field is the firm that was going to be serving as our OPM moving forward. Left Field has prepared an abbreviated version of their interview presentation to provide an opportunity to introduce themselves to the building committee. So at this time, I would like to introduce to my right, which is Mr. David Sangden and Craig DiCarlo from Left Field. We're very pleased to have them here. I do believe that the principal of your firm is joining us remotely as well, which I will give you the opportunity to introduce Mr. Rogers. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Sangden.
Thank you, Judy. I'm going to pass it over to Jim Rogers quickly if he would like to say anything, but I'm going to preface that he is ill. So apologies on his voice.
Yeah, thanks, David. I'd just like to thank the school building committee for selecting Left Field. Very excited about the opportunity. We've jumped in with both feet. We're looking forward to assisting the town with their upcoming vote, and then hopefully moving on to a successful design and construction of the projects. With that said, I'll let David take you through a brief introduction to the firm. And again, we're really excited to be here tonight, and thank you for the opportunity.
Great. Thank you, Jim. So as Judy indicated, my name is David Sandin. I'm a project executive with Left Field, and Craig DiCarlo, who is also a project executive. This is a condensed, abbreviated version. I'm going to go through the presentation quick. By all means, if you have any questions, we can come back to the slide. But we've been in business for about 18 years. Jim Rogers started the firm in 2007. We're north of 49 employees, but this is the exact slide we utilized when we presented to the selection committee, so we wanted to keep the same number. We have a lot of MSBA experience, a lot of public school experience. You can see 92% of our work. This is our meat and potatoes, which is public sector MSBA work. A lot of experience with design bid build as well as CMR. Obviously, this project is CMR, so we can bring a lot to the table. We have various offices. We have various, we'll say, business units or groups of individuals where you will see in an upcoming slide. So myself, Craig, you're going to see most of us, the two of us. Brian Johnson will be your on-site project manager. And then we're supported by a core of team members, Brian Dakin, Kevin Sullivan, Dan McSweeney, Jay Faxton, and Josh Brewster. They will come in and out of the project as needed. One of the differentiators between our firm and some of our peers in the industry is just the MEP expertise that we can bring to the table. You will see a lot of Jay at certain meetings and certainly working group meetings as we continue to refine the design. We're currently, since Fontaine has been selected as the CM, we're finishing a project with Fontaine, and they have a similar counterpart within Fontaine, Brian Davies, and Jay and Brian have worked extremely well together. So we're excited for the hopefully successful passage, and we can move forward with the project. As I indicated, we somewhat feel like we have some business units within Left Field. Internally, we somewhat call ourselves the North Shore group. You can see that we all live locally. Craig and myself, we probably could ride our bikes here. But you know, we don't have individuals from the South Shore, from the Berkshires, driving day after day. So we're local. This is just a small sampling of our projects that we've done locally. It's a long list. I was able to sort it by town and city, and everything that is highlighted here, those are MSBA projects. To the far right is Still Ricker. So there's 12 or 13 projects. That is a whole column dedicated to Bill Ricker. I'm going to quickly go through these slides. Just sampling of elementary schools that we've done. I'll just warn you, if you ask any questions about these three schools, I'm going to have zero answers because I have not managed them, but they're obviously a Left Field product. Two of these schools I've done, Brown Elementary and Florence Roach. Florence Roach is somewhat local to this area. And then some middle schools, Tingsboro Middle School, somewhat down the street, that is finishing up as we speak. high schools, Berwick High School down the street I was involved in. And then some schools that are somewhat have shovel in the ground. Agawam, I think, is still in design, and then Revere has broken ground. And Wakefield Memorial, I believe, is in construction. So we're very excited to be here, as Jim indicated. We're local. You don't have to go through multiple layers. If there's an issue, again, we're easily accessible. And I'll take any questions if anyone has any questions. If not, we can continue with the agenda.
Anybody on the committee have any questions or comments?
Yeah.
I would just say, as the chair and working with the leadership group, we've had many meetings up to this point with Left Field. Obviously, I was part of the interview team, as were multiple people around the table. I just want to give a positive affirmation that I believe that Left Field was an excellent choice for the town to make. The quality of performance from day one and just the first 30 days has been exceptional. I've been in very close contact with Town Manager Slagle on a daily basis. I've been working very closely with Dennis around the table, with Dr. Thompson. It really has been a great experience to get to know Left Field as a firm, and certainly a high-quality group of professionals that I would be working with. So I see that as a very positive thing for the future. So I'd like to thank you both for the introduction, and Mr. Rogers, on the phone. And I'd like to move on to the next portion of the administrative agenda, which is the invoice summary warrant vote. So Left Field has prepared warrant number 25 for review tonight. And basically, if you could please see the meeting packet item number 3, warrant 25 includes a single invoice received from Doran Whittier in the month of June for geotechnical work under the ASR-3 in the amount of $3,300. The Finance Working Group reviewed the invoices prior to this meeting, and at this time, does the Finance Working Group have a recommendation?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve warrant Article 25 in the amount of $3,300.
Thank you. Do I have a second for that motion? Seconded. Discussion. Okay, I kindly ask for a roll call vote.
Absolutely. Diane Allen?
Yes.
Kate Bissell?
Yes.
Kevin Kyra?
Yes.
Michael Camosio?
Yes.
Justin Couchet?
Yes.
Mary Ann Galesso?
Yes.
Nicholas Golden?
Yes.
And Lily Maselli?
Yes.
Paul Melorani?
Yes.
Craig Minor?
Yes.
Judy O'Connell?
Yes.
Christine Pendergast?
Yes.
David Ragsdale?
Yes.
Eric Schlegel?
Yes.
Dr. David Thompson?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the school building committee membership. Recently, there have been some changes to this committee's membership, and Left Field has prepared a slide to inform the committee of our current membership. And Mr. Sang is just pulling that up for us now.
I might need a few minutes.
Okay. Okay.
We were going to get to the video. We'll just take a moment.
So we're syncing up. There's going to be a couple videos that Doran Whittier put together or helped put together, and we want the sound to be audible to the folks at home. So we're taking a moment to sync those two up.
So why?
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you.
So, as mentioned in terms of the membership, so as you know, we obviously file an official roster with the MSBA, and we will be doing that. I am pleased to share that we have 24 voting members. A quorum for us constitutes 13 members being present, whether it's in person or virtual. And as you know, all of you that have been on the committee for a period of time, we thank you for your continued service. I'm pleased to share to my left, we have Select Board Member Lily Maselli, who has kindly agreed to take the select board spot that was vacated by Mr. Greg Bendel, who is now a community member on the committee. So Lil was sworn in and is official, so thank you, Lil, for joining us, and we appreciate your willingness to serve on this. I know you have a lot of other responsibilities. I'd also like to formally acknowledge again Dr. David Thompson, who is our interim superintendent, who comes with a wealth of experience and a very decorated career in working in education. So he is officially on board with Wilmington at this time, and we're looking forward to his leadership in this project. And then it's official now that I not only am a member of the committee, but the committee chair effective now with Dr. Brand moving on to another district. So we just wanted to highlight that so people here and at home understand that there have been a few changes, and that is the official roster, which we will do the right thing administratively and file that document with the MSBA so we're in compliance. So moving on to the design update. So the design team has a few items to share with the committee tonight. So including there's a physical model, which some of you may have seen on front on the 4th. We've had a few casualties with some trees being a little out of order because some of the young children like to see with their hands. So it's in some slight repair, but it looks beautiful, still looks beautiful. So we will also be seeing the latest computer-generated flyby video that was recently presented to the select board, and the latest informational video that was produced by Mr. David Cartoonian, which is produced and will be, after tonight, will be put on the project website and will be available for people to view. So, no pressure, David, but I used all the time.
Apologies. I know.
Yeah. We have
We're gonna
to.
switch over. It's like-
I think we're,
Yeah.
what's that? Yeah, I think we're gonna switch.
Demerit one.
Hey, it took me a long time to get this.
That glowing review, so.
Taj.
Nice, well lasting.
So while we're waiting for this, I want to apologize. The physical model is not in fact here.
It's in repair.
The physical model is sitting in my office, and so I apologize. So I'm not going to have a chance to see that tonight. But anybody who wants to come on my office and see it.
You gotta give notice so he's in there playing with the little people.
Are they Lego people?
Always.
So what you're saying is you move the trees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never-
So in the interest of time, while Ronnie is working on this, if we don't have any objections, just to keep this meeting moving, I would like to just suggest that we pause on item number 4 and move to the working group updates. And I wanted to just share that we are going to have an update from the Public Relations Working Group. But prior to doing that, we wanted to provide an update on the June 23rd tri-board meeting. And I apologize for spotting you, Eric, but if you would like to just recap the select board meeting and how that went, and maybe just provide a summary of that event.
Yes.
For the committee, please.
So we had as folks are aware, we did have the tri-board meeting. I think a lot of members of this committee did attend. So that was the school committee, the finance committee, and the select board. I'm happy to say that we got huge participation from all of the boards. So we had almost the entire finance committee was there, almost the entire school committee was there. So that was really gratifying to see. At that time, we gave a presentation that members of this board are probably so sick of seeing because we've seen it so many times, but we did basically give the full presentation to all 3 boards, because unlike those of us on this committee, not everyone on those 3 boards is living this project day to day. It was, I think, successful. We were able to talk about the the approval from the MSBA, talk about the tax impacts. We which, as folks know, there's a tax calculator now on the website that allows you to view that for yourself. I think there were some good questions asked by members of the public and members of the board, various boards at the meeting. I think it allowed us to tease out some more specifics about the project for the public. And I think from the feedback that I've gotten from members of the school committee and members of the finance committee has been overwhelmingly positive. So I think it was that meeting when we rolled out our financing plan where we talked about just to kind of state it very briefly, after the MSB's anticipated contribution, the town share is going to be around 111 million, and the proposal from the administration is to spend 15 million out of capital stabilization, so that the amount that would be borrowing would be right around $96 million, and ultimately over 30 years, that means that the tax impact on an average. The average value single-family home is right around $422 over that span, and so we were able to roll that out. I think people were happy to hear that number because it's significantly lower than the number that we've been talking about in the fall. So I think that's, I think it was a very good meeting and a good way to bring all those boards up to speed where we are right now on the project.
Thank you. So as you mentioned, the tax calculator is on the school project's website. It's also on the town's website. The average single family home we had is, right around the 702, 889. So it ends up being approximately about 60 cents per thousand. So people can certainly check that out. In addition, from a public perspective, we had the fun on the 4th. Certainly that I want to turn it over to Christine Pendergast and others if you want to give a brief update on the fun on the 4th. Obviously, that was meant to be an information booth only. I want to turn it over to you because all of you deserve all of the credit. Eric and I, certainly from a leadership perspective, we did participate to the extent that we could, but a lot of credit goes to all the committee members that made that possible, setting up the booth, and I really don't want to take the limelight away from all of you, so I'll turn it over to you to just to share how things went.
Michael and Justin did the hard work. We actually haven't really reconvened to put thoughts on paper, but I think we all collectively felt that the feedback was really positive. There really weren't too many people who weren't in the know about the project, which was great. Positive feedback, I don't know, anything particularly that I want to acknowledge?
It felt like a lot of the people that did frequent the booth were very much in support of the project, knew of the project, and were excited for the future opportunities that the MSBA contribution in the town would afford it. So there wasn't really, I didn't hear any negatives. And great representation from all of our communities in the town.
I could add that the trifold, bifold flyer was helpful for the people who did not know about the project. Giving them that, there was a lot of quick information they could reference, and I think a lot of people who took that appreciated that.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you very much. So I'm going to just check back in with my production team over here. See how you're doing.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to skip back to the design update, and as I mentioned, I think right now we're going to move into the 3D flyby that is going to be presented.
And this is similar to what you saw previously. We just did edit it to include a classroom space. That was a piece of feedback that we had heard, and this was shared at the select board meeting, but we had not formally shared it back as a full video here since this was our next meeting, and so we just wanted to make sure that you've all had a chance to view it as well, if you haven't already.
I actually see this when I fall asleep.
The music or the video?
All the above.
Are you dreaming? anyone that's attending remotely, you're not able to view this right now, so this will at some point be posted on the project website.
I have a question for Riley, if that's okay. Are the videos that are on the website also like on YouTube somewhere? Like on the town upload it to its YouTube, so it's more shareable? Because when you share a link online to the project page, someone still has to click and go through, whereas if it's a YouTube link, it can be embedded and kind of more easily.
We definitely can create it so that it can be shared.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I can make a note of that too with David and team to explore that further between John O'Neill and with Ken Ward to see how we can make those connections.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That looks awesome. I like the addition of the classroom space. So as much as everyone loves to view all of the, plans, it's hard to read, and this gives a 3D view of what the building would look like, and you can actually put it in the next so it doesn't look. But it's just to help visualize what this project will look like, both on the inside and the outside. A lot of these elements are in there, and in the next phases, a lot of that detail will be further developed in design development.
Can I ask, if I may, can I ask a question? It's a level of detail that I didn't pick up on until the video, that in the corridors, the cubbies are recessed, and did it appear that they have a door to them as well?
So depending on the grade level.
Okay, that's what was
so that
gonna be my
changes.
question.
So at the younger grades, so that area is actually on the second floor, so that's first and second graders. When you're on the lowest elementary, which is pre-K and K, so the first floor, those cubbies are actually inside the classroom.
Okay, and so for starting from first grade up, they have doors.
But they also have the cubby above.
Right, it's just I could see them open, close, fingers stuck, and where they're gonna come off. And I typically haven't seen doors for cubbies in the lower grades, maybe 4th and 5th, but not necessarily 1st and 2nd and 3rd.
And those were conversations that we had with the principals and the staff, and we'll revisit it as we get into the DD again with user group meetings.
Hey Judy, is there going to be time for questions from?
There will be, yes, yep, absolutely, yes, thank you, we're getting there, yeah, we're getting there, thank you. So moving on to the next piece, sure.
So we've been working with Cartoon EDU. Dave Cartoon is known in the industry, if you will, for helping to put together videos to help and really assist in communicating in bite-sized pieces the MSBA process and the details of the specific projects to share with the community. And this is really helpful, especially, we're at a point where if someone hasn't been following along, there are, 60 plus meetings that we've had, and to try to delve into all the detail, it's really challenging and very time consuming. So these videos, they're referred to as pillars, have been created to give a snapshot or summary, if you will, of this process that's been going on for the last 2+ years. And the first 5 pillars have been shared with the community through town meeting. And so he put together the last 2 pillars and to help communicate the costs and also what happens if the project is voted down. So those, so the video you're going to see is pillars 5, 6, and 7, just because prior to that it was the earlier phases. So 5 really does do a quick recap, if you will, without getting into too much detail. We will be sharing the pillars on the website, and it will be broken out into the pillars as well as the full video. If someone wants to take 8 minutes to watch the video, they can. But otherwise, there will be the individual pillars. If someone wants to get into more information, they can say, I just want to hear about the funding, and look for that pillar and watch that specific 2 minutes, for example. So, Dave, so that's, yeah.
Wilmington's new elementary school project is entering a key phase. We're nearing the end of the second leg of our MSBA marathon, the schematic design phase. Our design team took community feedback as well as input from our educators, administrators, and town officials to scope out every element of the project. This short video will show you how our plan to build a new pre-K through 5 elementary school on the north side of Wilmington can provide both educational and economic benefits to our students, families, and our entire community. Detail the project budget for the new school, including the amount of grant money from the MSBA to defray the cost impact to our taxpayers. We'll show the estimated impact the project would have if approved on our local tax assessments. And we'll explain the next phase of the MSBA marathon, public approval of the project, and what impact your votes at town meeting and in a town election will have. Wilmington's school building committee used public feedback to explore 18 different options to unlock MSBA funding to address its 3 elementary schools on the north side of town. After digging deeply into 9 of these potential options, the school building committee selected a preferred option, which the MSBA approved. This plan calls for a new pre-K through 5 school to be built on the site of the existing North Intermediate School to serve all students at Wildwood Early Childhood Center, Woburn Street Elementary, and North Intermediate Schools. We believe there are many advantages to this plan and want to highlight 3 key benefits. It starts with economic benefits. By completing the MSBA Marathon, we unlock grant money that will provide the town of Wilmington tens of millions of dollars of state funds to help pay for the project, rather than relying on local tax money alone to fund the new school. While the MSBA invited Wilmington to explore using state money to renovate or replace Wildwood, by meeting their requirements, we can access state funding to replace 3 aging schools at once. This saves Wilmington money in construction costs in the short term and delivers potential operational cost savings in the long term. We also believe this plan has educational benefits for our students. Most importantly, it reduces the number of transitions to different schools for our youngest learners, and continuity is a demonstrated driver of student success in education. The design of a new school preserves the smaller school communities that our students need at different ages. Grades pre-K through 2 will spend their time in the lower levels of the school, while grades 3 through 5 would occupy the upper wing of the school in their own age-appropriate communities. Meanwhile, the entire school gets the benefit of expanded educational opportunities through the core wing of the school, specials programs, library and media center, integrated special education, physical education, and cafeteria. Our educational specialists get more time delivering services to students without having to transition to 3 different locations, while supporting the chance for all educators in this school to plan together, a challenge today given our 3 separate schools. All while preserving the smaller community feel that our students enjoy in 3 different locations in the north side of Wilmington today. A new elementary school on the north side of Wilmington also provides significant community benefits. It reduces the number of school pickups for families with children at different school sites. And it centralizes the CARES program for the Wildwood, Woburn, and North school families, with before and after care at one pickup and drop-off location. Meanwhile, the entire community can benefit from a new, large gym with multiple courts for use outside of school hours, the cafeteria and stage for community gatherings, and an outdoor play space designed for separate play at different age-appropriate levels. Here is the project scope and budget for a new elementary school under the MSBA process. The total project budget is approximately $173.2 million. This includes careful contingency planning for rising costs and demolition of the existing building on the North Intermediate site. If approved at town meeting on September 13th and in a town election on September 16th, the MSBA would contribute about $62 million to this budget, or about 35% of the total project cost. The town recently proposed $15 million from its stabilization fund to assist with Wilmington's share of the budget, bringing the amount to be financed to approximately $96 million. Here's how we propose to pay for our portion, which will require voters' approval in a town election on September 16th. A debt exclusion, which means the tax increase is temporary and expires once the bond is paid off. A 30-year bond using a conservative interest rate of 4.5% that amounts to about $422 of additional property taxes on a $703,000 home, the average single-family assessed home in Wilmington. That amounts to about $35 added to a monthly mortgage payment. This is a fixed amount until the bond is repaid. In order to unlock MSBA funding, the new elementary school project now requires approval at town meeting on September 13th and in a town election on September 16th. The project requires a 2/3 majority at town meeting to approve the project and a simple majority at town election to approve the funding. It must reach each of these thresholds to move forward. If it does pass, the new elementary school will go through final design and construction, with the goal of cutting the ribbon and occupying the new school in the fall of 2028. If the project is not approved, Wilmington has just 10 business days to submit a plan to the MSBA to remedy the failed vote. The town may only schedule another vote with the MSBA's approval. Otherwise, the MSBA's involvement would cease, and any future MSBA involvement on a future project would require the filing of a new statement of interest by Wilmington. We would go back to the beginning of the process if and when the MSBA accepts us back into the program, which has historically been a 5 to 10 year process. Without the MSBA, Wilmington will have to address the repair and renovation of 3 elementary schools through its regular capital improvement process, where our taxpayers pay the full cost. We estimate that cost at $26.6 to $40.1 million for each elementary school, or an average of $32.4 million per school. 100% of these expenses would have to be paid with local tax dollars. The cost of maintaining 3 aging elementary schools would continue to rise, and we would continue to lack the new program space to provide educational supports in these 3 schools. In many cases, the repair, renovation cost, and update to code requirements to older school buildings can often approach or even exceed a town's contribution to a new building under MSBA funding. You can dig into the project details, view renderings of the new school's design, see how the project has stayed under budget, and other key details by visiting the elementary school project page on the Wilmington Public Schools website. And you can correspond with the building committee and project team through a dedicated email address, wildwoodprojectquestions@wpsk12.com.
Thank you for that. So obviously 2 very helpful pieces of information, which would be factual information that will be shared on the website. The key is we did not want to release these items out to the public without putting them before the committee first, so that you could see them before they went out to the public. So they will be published as, as presented here tonight. So moving on to further discussion regarding the Public Relations Working Group, we're going to give a few updates here, and then move into, committee questions and then public comments, just I know people are anxious to speak. This next section, I'm going to turn it over to left field, but I wanted to just share where it's coming from. Obviously, as we move through the project, we're trying to get as much factual information out to the public in different media forms. And whether it's small condensed versions, video, written word, project website, answering direct questions, taking phone calls at town hall, having these meetings, community forums, etc. And as a result of monitoring social media or hearing from committee members, we're hearing just an influx of questions, whether it's revisiting information that's been asked and answered or presented in previous meetings that people want to revisit, such as why the gym is the size that it is, what is the traffic plan, what type of preliminary work have we done in terms of site assessment, what are we doing for sustainability, how are we heating the building, what are we handling for a myriad of different topics. So that's totally acceptable, and we understand that we have to revisit certain topics that people might be coming into the project within a certain timeline. We're trying to answer those questions factually, make sure the leadership team and the firms that we've hired have an opportunity to help us assemble that data, get it published. We also are seeing in just the world we live in that there are some fact fiction narratives that are out there in the community that we are trying to work as a leadership team and as a committee to be able to present factual information, not about opinion, not about emotion, but really drilling into tax impact comparison as to how this project fits into the scope of other Massachusetts projects. Looking at what the cost per square foot is, if you look at just the building itself, what's the cost of the box is how it's been explained to me. Looking at things such as what is the cost per square foot for construction, actually building the product. Talking about what if the vote has failed, what does that mean? Making sure that people don't have the false impression that we can go to town meeting and amend, a warrant article on the floor and we can pick one of the other 17 options. The way it's been explained to me is that we are in essence going to town meeting with this particular agreement with MSBA. It mirrors the look and feel of like a purchase and sales agreement for a residential home. We are locked into this agreement. This either gets voted up or down based on this proposal. We can't amend it on the floor. We also want to make sure the public is very well aware that if this doesn't pass, what are the ramifications, which were briefly articulated in this video. Left field is going to spend more time talking about that. And then we talk into, the timeline for failed projects returning to the MSBA pipeline. So we're trying to make sure that we are correcting anything that might be stated publicly that is not accurate about the project. Okay, this is not a yes or no discussion. This is more about presenting factual information. As we move forward with the PR working group and with the leadership team, we continue to get questions. We have the meeting tonight, and we only have one other meeting on August 19th. There will be instances, and I want to inform the committee, I apologize, I'm not making direct eye contact with you to my left, that we may have to make leadership decisions with Eric as the town manager, working with the firms to endorse answers and responses to the public without having the ability to put it back through the committee. And we want to make sure we're stating that to you in this so that you're in the know, that it's going to have to pass through the town manager's office, because we're kind of down to a very short runway. And so we want to be very transparent with you, you know, what we're doing and why. It's taking a lot of time to try and get all that information together and present it succinctly and in the right locations. And so at this point, I want to turn it over to David to kind of take us through some of the things I just talked about, but I want to explain to you why we're doing that so that you understand why we're presenting that to you tonight, okay? I'll turn it over to you.
Perfect tee up. I'm actually going to pass it over to Craig DiCarlo because he did most, if not all, of the work in the background for these slides for the show.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Judy. All right, so to help everyone understand sort of where Wildwood falls relative to other projects, we've done some data mining. The MSBA does a really nice job putting information out there, but it's hard. There's a lot of information, a lot of data. And so what we did is we pulled sort of the most recent stuff and for comparison purposes. So now that I've said all that, this first slide is the tax impact comparison. This was not from the MSBA. This was a combination of information that Left Field had in-house from recent projects, Dora Whittier had in-house from recent projects, and that was readily available on the internet. So looking at this, the left-hand column are all the districts that we have information on, recent information, each school name, the average home value in each of those communities, and then their tax impact per year. And so at the very top in blue is Wilmington Wildwood, and as the town manager, Eric was speaking earlier, that tax impact is anticipated to be $422 per year for the life of the loan for the average house. If you look down that column, you can see that's really what we want to compare to. Burlington, up over $1,000 a year. Lexington, $300 in the first year, but then increasing. Each community has a different method for financing. Scrolling down, we see some others, $900, $700, $1,200, $200. So there are some higher and there are some lower. Down here at the bottom, we noted that out of all these districts, excluding Wilmington, $63 per month was the average. For Wilmington Wildwood, that would be $35 per month. So we see it's right in the mix, slightly below the average, which I think is sort of where you want to be. Before I move on, any questions about this one? Fantastic. We're running parallel slides here to the folks at home. All right, so the next thing we looked at was the cost of the building alone. We mined all that information for the most recent projects. We did include Andover West Elementary, even though it's from 2022. That's one, it's an immediate neighbor, so we thought it was relevant. To compare apples to apples, we escalated older projects up to today's money, the money that we're estimating for Wildwood, so that it's a fair comparison. You can see Wildwood is all the way over on your right at $538 per square foot just for the building, excluding site, excluding demo, excluding abatement, just the box. And so $538 per square foot. Just below that red line, that's the average of all these schools, also excluding Wildwood. We wanted to show you what the average of the kind of peer communities was, or comparable schools. So just below the average there. And if we go to the next slide, we also looked at total project costs. So now this is including site, including demo and abatement. This was actually even more compelling. So total construction cost, those same communities in blue, the average for total is, total construction cost is $882 per square foot. Wildwood is estimated at $835 a square foot. So it shows, and you can see there are some that are less. Who's that? Hopkinton was less. Andover Wildwood, Andover West Elementary was just about the same, 837, 835. So it gives you some other schools to compare to. So now we'll move on. Any questions about those so far? All right, David, would you like to talk about it?
Sure. So this, you know, there are some questions out there about what would happen if the vote were to fail. So we took this off the MSBA's website. This is the exact language from the MSBA's website. The only thing I added is, you know, emphasis added, bold and underlined. However, a failed vote will most likely result in the school district being required to submit a new statement of interest to the MSBA and await an invitation from the MSBA to enter the eligibility period of the MSBA's process. And we have a link where you can actually download, I think it's a 2 or 3 page policy. And then with that said, I'll pass it back to Craig and he can explain the analysis that he's done, which pretty much aligns with what was in the video.
So there have been, I think it's a total of 14 projects, both new construction as well as ad reno, that have failed the local approvals. So what we did is we looked at MSBA, again, puts all this information out there for the public. We just grabbed it from the website. We looked at each community that failed and looked forward to, into the future to see if they have another project that like sort of resurrected. And out of those 14 or so, or 19 that failed, there were 7 that those communities have come back to the MSBA and successfully gotten another project. And so we looked at how many years or months we looked at, but then we put it here in years, to get back to where they started. So the chart that's yellow, that's from the project scope and budget approval of the first project, which is immediately prior to their failing local vote. Then the new projects, or second version of the project, getting to that same point. And you can see the average was just over 7 years. We also looked at, in green, same projects, but to get a shovel in the ground, start of construction, and it ends up being almost 8.5 years. And so, as David was saying, that's right in that range in the video, 5 to 10. So this is where that information comes from. Any questions about that?
Thank you. So obviously the next slide has the voting information there, but before we get into that, I'm going to just continue on with the upcoming PR efforts. So through the work of the leadership team and then the PR group, we were successful in doing a water bill insert. They were printed and provided to the water mailing through the tax collector's office to go out. I do want to let you know that water bill insert is basically time, date, and location. It is very minimal so that it is very neutral. It does not have any bells and whistles on it, so it's just a reminder for people that you have 2 action items. We did that very intentionally so that it's just a factual information piece reminding people that they need to participate in both activities, the town meeting and the ballot box vote, and that early voting will be available, okay? Regarding the senior center update, we have made contact with Terry Marciello. We will be going to the senior center on August 26th at 1 o'clock to be there. Now, I want to be clear, this is again an informational session. We will prepare slides that are similar to this. There won't be anything different to the senior population that hasn't been presented to everyone else through all the other forums and outlets. This is just going to the seniors, so it makes it easy and more convenient, and it's happening during the day in hours that seem to be workable for that setting. And people can opt into coming, they don't have to come, we're just making ourselves available to offer information on the project and also to do some Q&A. Eric is working with Karen Rashis, who is our assessor, to talk about the senior tax work-off program and maybe other things that seniors can take advantage of with the town to help with residential taxes. So we're working on that, and again, just to further reiterate, the leadership and PR groups, we're meeting every week. These are working groups. So the PR group is meeting on Mondays, the leadership group is working on Tuesdays, and we're again working on the Q&A and different types of information that we can get out to help really educate people and re-educate people on the merits of the project and any concerns that are there. We have a full list of the town back to school nights, the open houses. We're working very closely with the school department and with Dr. Thompson to understand when the open houses are happening. Dorn Whittier is kind enough to print out display boards that we're going to be able to produce and put on easels in those evening sessions so that people can learn more about the project, whether it's QR code or further information, so we can keep people, readily informed. So that is the update. Anything from the PR working group that I've missed on this that you'd like to add?
No,
And again, I wanna thank you all.
Town Crier, Apple, the local Facebook community pages, the town will publish through the town hall Twitter and Facebook page. Yeah, we've got it all.
Thank you, and I also just want to give credit and say thank you to all of you for helping pull information to say, these are the questions that you think need to be answered, or can we do more to educate the public? So we appreciate that help that you're providing, and I appreciate the fact that you're doing it in a very professional manner, where you're saying we just need to get the facts out there in a different way or a different outlet, and we're trying to do that. So thank you for that. So, yes.
I just wanted to mention to the committee, in addition to everything that Judy's talked about, I did have an interview with the crier earlier this week so there will be, my anticipation is not this week, but next week there'll be an article in the crier, and I have scheduled time at the request of WCTV. They're going to interview me regarding the project later on this week, so I anticipate that probably by the end of this week it'll be, and next week there'll be videos of that interview on their website, and we will probably be able to link to them from the website with that, and the Apple's also on my list to reach out. As well.
Thank you for that. So the next area is discussion, correspondence, and new items. In terms of just some of the Q&A that comes in from the public, I wanted to just put it out there, on the record, that there are varying email correspondence that come in that may ask questions that we can't answer at this given time. So for example, like what type of tree is going to be planted, or where exactly is the fence going to go, or what exactly is an exact precise measurement. We are at 30% at this point in terms of design, so we have preliminary information across a lot of different areas. Sometimes we may get an expression of an opinion on something where someone's concerned about noise, or they're concerned about pollution, or they're concerned about something that they have a legitimate concern that is absolutely a real thing, but we're not at that point in the process where we may be able to 100% answer that question to someone's satisfaction. It's not that we don't have the desire to do that, we're just not at that stage, because we're going to take this to a certain point, we're going to go to town meeting, we're going to go to the ballot box, and then if we get through those endeavors, then everything kind of gets back on to get, peel back the onion, so to speak. So I just want to share that with you as I move forward. So committee,
One quick thing, but a lot of these comments that we don't have the answers for now, as we move into the next phase, we would review those.
Correct.
And see a way, if there's a way to implement them.
Absolutely.
To get an answer or to get a resolution or something.
Absolutely.
So that isn't gone away, it's just at a different stage.
It's in a holding pattern.
Yes.
Correct, it's in a whole, and thank you for bringing that home. And a perfect example would be, the preliminary traffic study. We know that we need to do additional mitigation on some of the adjacencies, i.e., Middlesex, Middlesex and Salem in the Valley Vale area. We've gotten to that certain point. On social media, there's been some concern and some expression about the Amazon project that's happening, for example, on 800 Salem Street. So we've been working with Valerie, within Town Hall. They've been working directly with the Amazon endeavor. And, just today, I received a written narrative from Valerie that is, certainly can be shared with the public, is that, they're going to be doing several $1 million worth of roadway improvements on Amazon's dime to handle the 62 corridor right there, including traffic signals, turn lanes, doing, the developer is going to be contributing $200,000 to the Martinsburg Culvert project that we're in jeopardy of not receiving funding because of not being part of the MSBA, the MBTA zoning. So that's something that, as I say to you, we're working literally day to day to be able to get current information, to be able to share to the public. Yes, we understand that the Amazon project is happening, but they will be spending millions of dollars on behalf of that project that will be making serious roadway improvements for the town of Wilmington in general that would take us years to do on our own, that we would have to pay for with taxpayer dollars that they will be paying for. So I think that's a very encouraging thing to share with the public, because right now, it's a concern. So we just got this information before I came here, as an example.
And
So
we're also trying to reflect the information in the queue. We recognize there's some stuff out there that's outdated, but we are trying to actively
kind of revamp it, revisit it. So it's very much a work in progress, is the point. We don't have information that we're withholding and just not giving it to the public. We just don't have a complete.
Just so everybody knows, we won't put it aside. We're waiting for the point to apply.
That's correct. That's right. So thank you for clarifying that. So having said that, that would be the update in terms of discussion, correspondence, new items. And then at this point, it would be committee questions. I want to go to the committee, and then we would go to the public.
Sorry, thank you. So I have a comment and two questions. The comment is in the community being about town, heard from folks over on Arlene, by saying that if it passes, to remind parents whose kids would be going there that the drop-off is not that cut through right behind the school. That
correct. That pedway will not be a roadway. It is not going to be a roadway access into the.
But as a pedway, just reminding parents, like dropping the kids off and letting them kind of go behind the school is not the intended use of that pedway.
Correct.
So reminding us that if this passes and we reach that next phase, that should be part of the messaging. Question one is, these videos were awesome and the slides were great. What of those are going to be included at town meeting as part of the town's presentation? All of it or none of it?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So my anticipation is that the vast bulk of the video, the slides, the video that we've seen this morning is going to be included. In addition, we want to have the cartoon and video because that's been typically where we're showing them. We're showing them at town meeting. The town, I think, has gotten used to seeing the updates in that format. But we're also going to have a standard kind of static slide deck that's going to talk about basically everything from right before our October vote to now. So talk about the public outreach that we did to reach the October vote, because I think that's important to reiterate at the town meeting. Talk about the design, talk about the funding. And I think those are the kind of key pieces that we're going to reiterate as part of the static slide deck.
Thank you. And then just really quick question too is, so I know there's been some talk in the community and I think a desire among some folks to have video in the schools, and we're having some conversations about that. I just want to lift that back up the chain of the many things that the leadership team has to do. If that's something we can do, I think because it was done for other projects in town, it would really illustrate kind of the need here and what the evidence that we saw that has led us to pick this project. So I'm putting that out in the open, that it's a thing that we should continue talking about doing.
Yeah, I don't, yes, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just wanted to, I was kind of along the same lines of what Nick was saying on the pillar videos are great. Because I think that information, you know, especially about the MSBA money, because you know I asked that question at the tri-board meeting. So that gives us some clarity on what happens if it gets turned down, that we basically have to go back into the project, for lack of a better. And I love that you are showing where you got that information, you know, your source. So I was just gonna suggest that, you know, whatever we put out in town meeting, in that vein, obviously we'll show those that's there, but if we could just, you know, note the source so people understand that it's like, these are, you know, where you got them. So
I'm gonna
people can
steal
sit
it.
there and be like, you know, I just think that's really important, just, you know, regardless of what side you're on. I just think it's important that people see where the you know, information's coming from, because, you know, it's important, and people like to do their own work. So I think this is gonna be great when it gets put on the website for the public to see. I hope it gets a lot of traction, so people can actually go in and dive in. I know I'm personally gonna do that just because I'm curious about a lot of the stuff too, but yeah, that's it. But thank you, those are great.
Thank you. Capture that, yes.
So I just had a comment about the cartoon video, which was done very well. But at the end, when it says if this doesn't pass, we're looking at 30 mil for upgrades and repairs to each of the 3 schools. I think we need to be careful about saying it's this or that. Because in the end, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, if for some reason the project doesn't pass, there may not be an appetite to do $30 million of repair work to the north and $30 million of repair work to the Woburn Street School. I think that realistically, what we need to be talking about is what it's going to cost to bring the Wildwood back online, because that's in reality what we're talking about. Am I wrong?
Well, one quick thing too, when you talk about trying to do $30 million to work to a building, there's no way to do that efficiently. You have 8 weeks every summer, right? And then there's no way to shut down the school without doing modular, which is millions and millions of dollars, and having those outside. So when you think of a $30 million project and doing all the different things you'd have to do in 8-week increments, once every year, because there's not a lot more you can do during a school year.
I just don't know what the $30 million is for the north. I don't know what the $30 million is for the Woburn Street. I know these schools are in poor shape. I understand that. But I don't want people to think that if this fails, we got to sink $90 million of tax money into these 3 schools.
Well, again, even if we had to do 10 million, that 10 million is going to probably be over 5 years, or whatever those is. Because again, you can't do all the projects at once, so it's going to extend over multiple years. And then as you're heading out, there's things that are getting older that we're not addressing. So those are all the things we really have to think about.
So I hear exactly what you're saying, and my concern is that, you know, just in talking to Dennis, we already know just in deferred maintenance that there's gonna be probably double-digit $1 million worth of work that we're gonna be required to do in the next several years, just on one of those.
All I'm saying is I think that we need to articulate what that is. Okay? We can't just be saying, look, if this doesn't pass, it's 30 million for this, 30 million for that, and 30 million for this, without giving people an idea of what the failed systems are, what the structural problems are in these schools. So I think that we need to spend a little bit of time just so people have that information, and then we're not going blindly and making this decision.
So what we could do is, I know we have that deep dive as part of the slide deck that this committee has seen. As part of the presentation at town meeting, we can make sure that it won't be in the cartooning video, but we could do as part of the slide deck, have like a little deeper dive into where those numbers come from, the fact that they're current day dollars and not, that doesn't count if it takes us 10 years to do it. We can absolutely get some context.
But I do appreciate Dennis's point as well, and that should be raised. This isn't gonna happen over a 1-year cycle. It is going to be deferred maintenance that's gonna happen during the summers and incrementally. So the change, even if we spent the money, the change isn't gonna happen immediately. It's gonna take years to make it happen.
Can I just jump in?
Yes.
Real quick? So what actually happens is you end up playing whack-a-mole because you have all these projects and things that need to be fixed, but there's a whole bunch of things in these older buildings you don't know are going to break, and those are then going to take priority. So the other project is put off, and you're running around with, coming up with 10 or 20 million dollars a year trying to do multiple projects, and you're whack-a-mole because you've got older elementary schools. They were only built to last so long. And the problem with building them all at once is they age out kind of all at once. So that's the piece that needs to get across, and that's, talk about experience, sometimes I wish I didn't have some of the experience with that, but that's what happens. Okay, because you need an HVAC system, but it isn't completely broken yet, and you have to fix a boiler over here. That's more important. So that's put off for another year, which then means it's in worse shape and then costs more the year. So it's a whack-a-mole.
And and everybody around this table completely understands that. I think that's what we need to articulate to the voters at town meeting.
Right, and I think what you're trying to say is we need to unpack that number and realize that if it's gonna be unpacked over a 10, 15, 20-year period, you know, no one's gonna benefit from it, and these dollars are estimated in today's dollars. They don't have an escalation component, and we know year over year, and we understand it because we've all been talking about it. But, you know, I would even go on to say that someone that, you know, and I'm not just gonna say a certain segment of the population, any population, I'm looking at this, I'm talking as a tax-paying resident, I'm looking at this from a financial business decision. If I can accomplish this for $35 a month, regardless of what my age or my financial ability, if I have to tin cup this and do this across multiple buildings, my cost is gonna be more than $35 a month, and it's gonna be for a 25-year spend, and I'm not even gonna get to everything. So I'm looking at it like, how can I accomplish more in a shorter period of time in earlier dollars, because they're only gonna be more expensive. I'd rather fund this now, because it's only gonna get more expensive.
I think we just have it all on the table.
Right, so I think we just need to unpack the details better.
Yeah, and one other thing is, you look at the committee we just sat on for the reuse committee, when we're talking about a building worth $540,000. Once you start triggering code compliance, you have timelines on everything too. So we're now gonna start talking about timelines that we have to meet to do these upgrades unless you're doing smaller sections. So there's a lot of different pieces to when we start talking rehab and timelines and different things. So I think you're right, it's unpacking it, but figuring out the cause and effect of each movement.
So thank you for that. I'm gonna have Justin speak, and then I just want to acknowledge that Mary Ann Galezza was online with her hand raised to make a comment, so.
Go first if you may.
No, you have.
Just along similar lines to Paul's comment, and I don't know if this can happen, before September, but looking at it from an educational standpoint, if this project doesn't pass, what happens then? I just had my youngest as a kindergartner in the middle school for a year. How long is that sustainable? From the staff's perspective, from the principal's perspective, how long can we take that wing from the middle school as a kindergarten and have, I guess it's around 30% of the kindergartners over in the West? So I 100% agree with Paul and Dennis in terms of the costs and things like that, but we need to look at it from an educational perspective too and say, how long can we keep the current system going? Can the kindergartners stay in the middle school, and for how long? Or, are we looking at reopening the Wildwood, at what expense? How long is that gonna take? So I just wanna look at it from another perspective. Never mind the dollars and cents, let's look at it from the parent perspective, from the kid's perspective, from the staff perspective. How long can this current situation last?
I just think there's people out there who think that we can just bring the Wildwood back online and say, just open it up again.
Right.
Yeah, they do.
Right.
I've crawled under that building, I've been in every nook and cranny of that building.
We all know it.
We are where it is, and it's time to move on from that building, and it's what we do from that building. But if people think we can plug that back in, that's not an option. And especially when you look at the age and every bit and piece of that building, I will stand up and let everyone know that.
And so to that point, then what? So if Wildwood's a non-starter, if this project fails, then what's happening to the students? Are the students staying where they are? Is the middle school now one wing smaller because the Wildwood is permanently there? Rhetorical questions, but we need to look at it from that perspective.
But spending that Paul said is important, because I think the Wildwood becomes front and center. The other two schools may be extenuated time periods to fix, but the Wildwood would have.
Correct.
Those
But
all
tomorrow,
those be
probably.
called out, I
Right,
agree.
and if that's the case, then respectfully stated, the estimates for those other schools are only gonna go up. So, great discussion, this is really, really
Don't
good
forget about
discussion.
Mary Ann.
I know we have Mary Ann here, and I would also just ask if there are any other audience members besides Mary Ann. that's asked.
David Rex
Okay.
also.
So if we can go to Mary Ann and then go to David, please.
Hi, I just get a quick comment. Is there any way that we could revamp the Wildwood School Committee website at all? I've had a few comments that it's very confusing once you get in there and trying to navigate around certain things to find something that someone's specifically looking at. And I did go on to a few other project websites, and they have a lot of stuff that's front and center that is very useful on their website. And I don't mean this in any way against, I don't know who does the website. There's a lot of information on there, but it just seems a little difficult to try to find what you're looking for. We as committee members know what we're looking for and can go to it, but I think as the general public, it gets a little confusing for them. Just wondering if there's any way we can kind of just streamline that, or, you know, just revamp it a little bit to make it a little bit more user-friendly.
Yes, so Marion, just so to answer you back, in the leadership discussions, and again, I appreciate your comments about being complimentary to everyone that's designed that website and has been maintaining it, but you are correct. It's like, with all the meetings and the years that have gone by, what was started out as like a carry-on is now like a 6-piece luggage set in terms of
I know, yep.
documents that are out there. And so, you know, it's like, how do you get the Reader's Digest version? You know, what are the top 10 or 15 documents as you prepare for town meeting or the ballot box? And so we've been having conversations with the leadership team in left field and Doran Whittier as to how can we succinctly kind of give you know, an abridged version, if you will, or restructure things. We have looked at other project websites in some of the immediate neighboring towns that have done the design of the website a little bit differently. So we are looking at that, and what we're doing is, you know, we have a lot of things that we're trying to rework in the midst of getting to a very quick timeline. So we want to just make sure that, you know, we prioritize and kind of triage and then, you know, revamp what we can while being cognizant, you know, of the calendar date, you know, that we have to get this done quickly. So your comments are well placed and understood.
Thank you.
Marian, this is Christine. You can feel free to shoot me an email of something specific that you have in mind. I'm working with Tracy. She does a lot of the updates for us, and we've been trying to pull in the town webmaster. We do have some limitations with the design of, you know, the back-end design. We're trying to navigate that infrastructure, but otherwise shoot me a note, and I'm trying to push the boundaries on the infrastructure, if you will.
Yeah, no, I mean, as Judy just pointed out, if you go look at some of the other websites, you get like a banner that's, you know, moving all the time, putting up constant new information, and it's just a little bit more eye-catching, especially to the public when they're first hearing about it and try to navigate the site. But yeah, no, it's not intended to, you know, spar anybody on working. I know everybody's a volunteer and they're working quite hard. Just a little input. That was it. Just something, and a few people have actually said it to me that they find it very hard to navigate. And to Judy's point, there's just so much information on the website that it's just hard to put it all in there.
No, we get a lot, we get a lot of inquiries at town hall just saying, where can I find it on the website? So, and to be frank, you know, I've had challenges finding some stuff out there as well, and we've tried to, you know, bring it up to the top so that it's a more recent post. So,
yeah.
Valid, understood, and we will work on it.
Is that something that the OPM could jump in on and kind of help? I mean, that part of their job description, so to speak?
How's that? Try
Not to put you on the spot.
Just give me a moment, I'm choosing my words carefully. So
You can
we
tell she
are,
works in finance.
we're providing some limited services at the time being. As Judy indicated, we're taking things and kind of putting everything into a triage. But we will work with Christine. One idea we have is to make some sort of a document where someone who is inquiring about some aspect of the project, they could read something and we can give them the answer, but if they want to take a deep dive, it could be click here, and it'll bring them to a hyperlink that will then, give them a whole novel on why. So we're looking at, I'm going to just say, what are the 10 things you need to know, and we'll provide kind of snippets of information. If they want to take a deep dive, they can click and go right to a novel. So that's something that, as Judy indicated, we're talking about at leadership.
Okay, thank you.
Marion, are you all set?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
So I believe David Ragsdale is next in the queue.
Thanks, Judy. So seeing some of the information presented tonight, in particular the slides about the amount of time to return to the MSBA after a failed vote, the amount of, the number of years to eventually get a project built, as well as Dennis's point about the short amount of time you have in the summers to do major renovations to any of the schools we have, and Justin also talking about, the temporary solution we have for the Wildwood kids. Something that I think that we also need to unpack a little bit better in our information is not just the cost of dealing with these projects separately, but just the time frame. I think that we've obviously talked about that a lot, especially when we were looking at the various options and deciding on a preferred option. But I think that we've talked more about cost than about the time frame lately, and compared with opening this school in 3 years and then thinking about projecting how many years it will take to make meaningful updates to these buildings with some of the different options is, I think, something that we want to put more front and center.
Thank you. Are there any other hands raised in the virtual world? Okay. Anyone else around the table? Yes.
Judy, I just had one comment. Maybe this is for Randy, really. When we show a map of where this school is going, we have never delineated the existing school there, the North Intermediate, in some dotted line. And I find, and I've had people ask, how is the school going there? There's a school there. Just where exactly is this new school going? It's just one particular issue that I think would help orient, and especially if you're going to the seniors, they may have a hard time understanding how the school's going to get built, because we are going to tell them that school, not intermediate, is still going to be ongoing until the school is completed, Well, how is that all going to take place? And, exactly, we've never had one little sheet with a dotted line.
We can work on that, and I think we could add that into the static slide deck that.
Yeah, we had that plan. We had the one plan that showed the.
Right.
We do in the community, so are you thinking, I'm wondering if the video, because parts of the video were made previously, if that plan didn't have the dotted line, in the community forum and all of the updated slides, that dashed or dotted line for the existing building footprint is on the site plan.
It is.
We can certainly make sure it's in the slide.
Yeah, when we go to the senior center, we'll make sure that slide's there.
Okay, so that's
Fontaine might have had a phasing plan as part of their interview process. I just wonder if that phasing plan, if it's animated, might be a tool.
They actually have a video.
Yeah, they have a cool little video that's the phasing plan.
Okay.
It's not exact, but obviously, but it gives a very good idea of how that will all transpire.
This is Mark on the hybrid. Diane, thanks for mentioning this again. I know it's been mentioned previously. We did go back in the video and understanding the question, I'm not sure that the way the video is constructed helps illustrate this better than what we have. And if I remember the conversations that we've had a few times, it's that when we put a dotted line to sort of suggest the footprint of north, I'm not sure if we think it's not easy to see or if it's confusing, but it is something that's been talked about in a couple different areas. So maybe, Ronnie and David and Craig, we could revisit how to best represent that collectively.
Yeah, we'll definitely go
I think if we have a presentation, we can maybe have a slide that shows it like appear and disappear, like there's where it is. Now let's get back to the one that you can see what's actually there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments around the table? At this time, I'm going to move on to public comments. I do see that we have people in the audience. In making a public comment or asking a question, if I can just kindly ask that you identify your name and address for the record, and certainly want to give people ample opportunity. I'd like to suggest trying to keep your questions and comments to 3 minutes or so that we can go around the room to see if there are other people that want to speak, and then if we have an opportunity to revisit and have you make additional comments, we certainly can do that. So at this point in the program, wanted to offer that out to the public. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Just share your
Sean
name.
Kenny, 24 Ballard Trail.
Yes.
A couple of people have made comments about the cartoon EDU video, which they thought was great, but there's no representation of the abutters, so
Yes.
somehow the abutters are missing from the entire presentation. You can't even tell there are abutters. That looks like a school that was a forest cut out, and we put a new school in there. But where did the abutters go? And I feel this was, and this is why you guys get so much, comments about from the abutters. You just overlooked it. And how could everyone on this project team miss out on that point? No one stood up and said, hey, where are the abutters? You guys already told me you're building roads 10 to 15 feet. But you forgot that point, and you're now gonna take that presentation to the town without the abutters represented?
Show how close the pickup line is to my property. Show how the big school is gonna fit between my property and Karen Lee's property and the other people over there on Ollie now. Show that. Never mind the dotted line of the current school. Show how close that big school is between my house and the adjacent property.
Well,
And how is it gonna fit in there?
Well, so my question, I wanna know.
And don't laugh, because I can see you doing it.
I want to know how were the...
You live here, where I live.
Can the man finish his comment? You can.
He can finish, and I have a comment too. Listen, don't do that to me. Don't bully me like I got bullied last time. Don't bully me. Let me speak. I didn't find out about this till January. I'm gonna have a lot of questions and comments. Let us speak. And stop making comments. He's my husband. We can both talk. He can talk and I'll talk too.
I understand. I just want to try and
So I want,
bring it
so
back.
if someone could give me a transparent, honest answer, how could that mistake have happened?
So
This tree, it's like a bunch of trees. My property's not on that thing.
You're giving
So
me
I
my-
would show my property on that thing. Show the amount of space between mine and Karen Lee's property and how that school's gonna fit in there. Somebody show it. Show it on that thing that everyone is seeing.
So Ms. Kenny, I understand that you're upset, and I recognize that. I will.
No, it gets overlooked. Nobody shows it. Show it. The next time that thing goes up there, I want my property on that thing.
So I would just say to you that the intent of this was not to try and mislead people that it is not in a neighborhood setting. The address is known, the location is known. Anyone that's coming into that environment knows that there are neighborhoods there are streets.
They can't
So
tell
what
from the rendering that you guys been showing how exactly close my property is.
and the
And
other one on the other side,
I
and
understand.
how it's gonna fit. I wanna see it.
Respectfully stated, we're showing the building and the project that we're funding. That was the intent of the video.
Pull that
We're-
video back up.
Ms.
You
Kenny,
pull it up and point
all-
out where my
with all-
house is on it.
We're trying to show
You
the
can't.
scope, the scope and the size of the project that's on the four corners of the lot. We're not in a situation where we should be publishing people's homes in a video. We don't have permission to do that. The
Go ahead
intent-
and publish
the
it.
intent
I don't
was
care.
not-
None of the other butters
With all due
care.
respect,
They
I'm
want
trying-
an exact rendering of how this school is gonna fit between our properties. That's what we want.
The video is intended to show the actual project itself. It is not intended to show other people's personal homes. It was to specifically speak about the school and what's part of the price tag of what we're presenting to town meeting. I understand that that is not meeting your expectations and you think that that's misleading. That was not the intent. We are not showing people's personal homes in a video. We don't have permission to do that.
Okay, well,
We
you
are-
have my permission to do it.
what I'm trying
I
to
wanna see
say-
my house on that next rendering.
all due respect,
Not a
I'm-
bunch of trees, nowhere to be found. Yeah, disappear the trees, like
we're
he said
showing-
here,
we're
disappear
showing-
the trees
we're
and
showing
then,
the scope
then
of the
put them
project.
back. Show it exactly how it is and how
So-
close and how it's gonna fit between the two properties.
It's a cartoon video, so put the cartoon houses up. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
put that in there.
Okay. Your comments have been noted and your
All right, thank
concerns have
you.
been noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, sir, if you can just provide your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, Bob Donahue, 12 Ella Ave. So I share, for the people in here who are not abutters, or who are not like close to it, I'm not a butter, but I'm gonna have huge impact. You gotta be sensitive to this lady. Like, honestly, I've never met any of you guys. There's gonna be a school dropped in the backyard and you guys, I don't know, whether you're smirking out, you gotta be sensitive. They spent a ton of money on their house.
Yeah.
Okay, it's everything to them. You wouldn't trade houses with her, would you? Would you
Do
trade
you
houses
wanna
with
pick
her?
up line there? Do you wanna pick up line? Any of you,
First
just
of all,
please answer this question.
can you be
Do
quiet
you
for a
want
minute?
a pickup line 10 feet from your house?
Ms. Kenny.
Yes or no?
So I'm having a conversation with you.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
I do have empathy for the abutters,
Okay.
right? My problem is, we're trying to have a meeting and be civil. And so I have brought up the abutters, we have talked about
Yeah.
it in many meetings. If somebody built in the land behind my house and they own it, I don't have a choice. It's buildable land.
And I'm
they
not
can build it.
moving.
I'm talking to the gentleman over there, please. So I do have the opportunity. So I can have my own opinions and share them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I don't have empathy for her.
That's all I'm stating.
So for you to, if you want to call me out on it, I have empathy and I have brought it up in meetings and we have talked about the abutters. And
Well,
you can find me a video talking about it in many of the videos, in a lot of them.
And I would just.
I'm just stating that, I live, do you guys know all the streets?
I do.
Okay,
Very much
does
so.
any of you guys live in the neighborhood?
I
Where
have.
do you live?
Dorothy Ave.
Okay, beautiful, you understand. So here's my issue. I'm not in their position where I'm gonna be looking at the school. I'm number 12, so I've got a little distance. My questions basically are traffic questions, okay? I mean, that's what it comes down to. When you go down Arlene Ave to take a left on Salem, you're either gonna get smashed by a car or you're gonna wait 3-4 minutes.
Go really fast.
To get out of it. Right. So, I'm looking right at you, you get this. We're now going to impact that traffic hugely. Okay,
So we've talked about the traffic, and we've actually sent more questions through Dora Whittier. I know they only did a preliminary traffic for our intersection. The Middlesex and Salem and the 62 intersection, both, we know they need improvements, and we know there's improvements that can be done that improve from now, and then after we have the school, we're still projecting it could get better. So the town is aware that we need to do those intersection upgrades. That's almost, to me, a non-starter. If we can't build the school, that's the next thing we have to do, so the traffic is not worse. I'm not saying it's gonna be better,
Well,
but it's
so-
potentially get at least
Is it
better from now,
proposed
and then the
or
school
is
adds
it-
some.
is it proposed, or are you like are you kind of stating as a citizen that you kind of, that talked about? I mean, is there gonna be lights at that intersection?
We don't know if they're gonna do that, because that's a project the town has to undertake.
So
These are
when
things
does
that
the
this
town
committee is
do that?
gonna wanna push to
Yes,
do.
no, you know?
These are things that committees wanna push to do and find out more about the traffic for these intersections. A project has a start and a finish, we're only so far along the way. If you want the town to spend more money on the traffic intersection, that's something to go bring up to the select board and find out why they're not doing that right now. There's priorities the town has made. I don't know if the town manager, assistant town manager want to speak to that specifically, but as it relates to this project, we know it's important to take care of the traffic, but we only have so much we can control at this point. Move forward with this project, and then we can design, and let the design team engineer some solutions for some of these problems.
Because I know that there has been, and I'm almost finished. I know there's already been a study. I read it, most of it's above my pay grade, but generally, you know, it did state that of course there's gonna be more traffic. It's a no-brainer, right? I mean, it's gonna be an extra 10 buses, it's gonna be, population goes from a couple hundred something up to 800. It's gonna be people all over the place. It's going to be that gym, I think you mentioned the gym earlier in the discussion.
Yes.
Somebody was saying to you, how big is it? Right?
Yes, correct.
Are all the recreation programs in the town gonna be funneled into that gym?
No.
Is that
No.
someone told me it was 2 gyms, was that a
It is a
Information.
full-size gym, it's the same as the gym size that's here at this high school.
Okay, so
So
you
it's
can
the
have like
same
3 separate
size.
courts kind of in tandem like that?
So,
Two, yeah.
it would be
Two,
two,
okay.
it'd be two.
Somebody, and there's misinformation out there.
Correct.
Someone told me there's 2 gyms and I'm like, oh my God,
No.
I'm gonna be, first I can't get out of there. And then when finally I have a nice quiet weekend, like when I'm not gonna, you know, I'll be able to get out of my neighborhood, right, go out to dinner. Then there's gonna be everybody playing their basketball games.
It's
So
not gonna
at
be
least
two
there's only one
gyms.
gym.
It's only gonna be one gym, but it's gonna be a 12,000 square foot gym as opposed to a 6,000 square foot gym. It will be the same size as what you see here for the high school.
That's
And
12,000.
that's correct. And the reason for that is because, yes, the Wildwood did not have a specific gym. It was a cafeteria that was also used as a gym. But if the Woburn Street and the North are combined into that, even though the Wildwood doesn't have a gym right now, it doesn't mean that they don't still need space for physical activity for that age group. So based on the population that would be going there, as well as the suite of services that the community provides, whether it's through the high school sports, recreational sports, as it is right now, we are already having lean gym times for the programs we have right now, and we haven't even addressed the school. I just had a conversation with our recreation director and with our athletic director that we're having issues with getting ample gym time to the programs that we have in existence today, and we haven't even done a school project. So that need is real. Back to, Mr. Camusi did an excellent job. I'm going to turn it over to the manager to add some additional comments. But I want to just say something to you, if I may. This committee was charged with what was voted on at town meeting to take up this endeavor. There are people that are paid professionals around this table that you may not have met, and there are a host of volunteers that want to give back to their community. Because they are part of this and are working towards a project endeavor does not mean that they don't care about their neighbors and don't care about residents and don't care about abutters. I want to correct that, and I want to make sure that you know that there is no malice or anything nefarious about this group, that we're trying to do harm to a subset of the Wilmington population. We're trying to see what started out as 18 different options through years of work and months of work up to this point. So I understand that when someone has a home and there's a change in circumstance around them, that that causes a lot of stress. Just like when we had the new town hall school administration building being built, that did not go over well, in terms, there was no intent, that was voted through. When the senior center was built and there's illuminated parking lots and pickleball courts that now back up to people on Brattle Street and Glen Road, there was nothing nefarious about trying to do that. It was trying to build a better community. So it may not be to everybody's liking, but there's no ill intent to stick it to a neighbor. I just want to correct that record.
I wasn't saying that, I was just saying
Right.
sensitivity.
Understood, and,
I wasn't.
no, and I just
don't
wanna
think-
make
Yeah,
sure
no,
that,
it's very, I mean, the
right.
buildings looks great and all that. I happen to be in kind of not the best spot for where all the traffic's on. So
understood.
of course, I'm not thrilled.
Understood.
Okay, just like someone who, lives on, on the other side of town, they're like, oh, cool, I've got a kindergartner and this is gonna be great and all that. And, but they're not like, they're gonna have a hard time getting out of the neighborhood. So, of course, like, my issues are pretty narrow. I'm coming clean on that.
No, it's real issues.
Yeah, it's a real issue, and someday when I go to sell my house, which I just put an addition on, spend a ton of money, people might go, oh, wow, this kind of sucks getting in and out of here. I'm just saying, a lot of things affect value of properties. I don't have the answer to that, I mean, I don't.
Right, I will tell you that
I
the
think
school, the school in your neighborhood is gonna help your property.
Yeah, I mean, it may help some
Tremendously.
people, and it may help overall, but the town of Wilmington has good schools. Anyway, one last question, I'm gonna go on.
Sure.
Okay, the emergency exit that's coming onto our road,
Yes.
that's obviously a big issue to us. I go out there, I don't, is that supposed to be for like emergency vehicles if somebody's?
The town manager's gonna answer that question.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to clarify a couple of things.
Yeah.
So, right now, that's a pedestrian access only, it's gonna remain pedestrian access only. There's no intent for emergency vehicles.
Yeah, I heard that.
It is, and,
Sorry,
so,
I hear that, and I'm
yeah,
like.
so to be fair, there was a time in the project when we thought about, is that a place where we're gonna have emergency access? And then the committee looked at it and said, no, we're not gonna have emergency vehicles go through. So it's just pedestrian access.
Is that, it was legit at some point.
I mean, it was, for a very brief time, we discussed it and then shot it down.
I thought I saw it in a drawing online too.
Yeah, so there was a drawing that showed that possibility. The second thing I wanted to speak to is to go back to kind of what Michael was talking about traffic. So I've already had conversations with the town engineer and the DPW director specifically about the traffic. So we have a preliminary traffic study. If this gets approved, part of the next phase is going to be a much deeper traffic study. I've instructed them that what the plan is to put engineering for those intersections into the capital plan that we'll be voting on next May. So that would be engineering for the Salem and Middlesex intersection and for Middlesex and High Street. Based on the mitigation plan that's proposed by the traffic engineer that we're going to hire to do the full study. And that would anticipate that we would be funding the full traffic implementation in the following fiscal year, which would get it in the ground before the school got open. So that's
There's probably gonna be lights around there, otherwise it'd be a total.
I actually don't think the lights are kind of what the traffic situation calls for, but I am not a traffic engineer, but I play one on TV sometimes. So we're gonna defer to that traffic study and what the experts say is the appropriate thing to do, and then try to engineer that and get that installed with the goal of having that installed in the ground before the school gets open.
So that pedestrian walkway,
Yes.
is that for drop-offs? What is it for?
Well, I think that's what Nick was saying.
The reason I was laughing, sir, is because I brought up that issue, and our lead resident had told me, hey, remind the school district that, so currently, parents do kind of sneak up our lane and drop their kids off and use the ped walkway to get to the school. And, exactly, so, if this project passes, that pedestrian walkway will stay the same. It won't be an emergency exit, but we do need to remind parents that if there are more parents coming, they should not be dropping their kids off to use that entry to get to the school. They should use the designated entries to the school.
The goal for that pedestrian walkway is for the kids to walk from the neighborhood. That's what it's really supposed to be. So anybody from the school who walks to school or rides their bike to school, that should be the way they enter into the school.
Perfect.
It really, and I think it's something we'd have to talk with the school about reinforcing to the parents.
So
that
at
it
least
shouldn't be a
it's
problem.
kind of known not to be a drop-off, because that would be a shit show of karma.
I've heard from folks in that neighborhood that people do kind of, and I don't, parents, if there's traffic, they go.
Hopefully there'll be a sign put up so that it's kind of.
Something we can,
We can certainly, work through all of that and work through that with even traffic, with police safety as well as through the school. So certainly that could be done. Now, back in terms of the comment, just so you're clear, the select board function in this from the traffic study perspective wouldn't be to the very end when what is being proposed by the town manager through the formal budget process goes before the select board for final approval to bring the warrant forward to town meeting. The actual design is, as the manager indicated, would be through our Department of Public Works and Engineering in working with the firms that we have as consultants to try and design and get a cost estimate and work that through. It really doesn't originate through the select board per se, but it would go through the select board desk, if you will, to be approved to be a warrant article to
So
come
the
forward to
traffic,
town
the
meeting.
traffic ramifications will be responded to after it's built, is that kind of?
Well, it's
Well, no,
kind of gonna be.
after it's approved,
After it's
before it's
approved,
After it's approved,
before it's built, correct.
I think if you had a meeting with the select board to fix it, and that would be, you would take that issue for prioritization to bring it to town
Correct,
manager.
yep, exactly.
The project's already working.
So.
As long as he's good with the traffic, I'm good with the traffic. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Excuse me, I'm
Yes.
gonna be calm.
Yep.
I have a question that's actually very legitimate, and I have two concerns.
Sure.
Okay, so just the two concerns. You say you have empathy for me. What is that empathy? What is it?
I want all the comments to
Yeah.
be directed to the chair.
Okay, yes,
He-
okay, so let
but-
me just say this, okay? Does everybody know what happens when you have a pickup line 10 feet from your property? Do you know what health issues it can cause? I just want to make sure you all know what kind of health issues a pickup line can cause. Do you all know it? Do you know them? Do you know them? Do you know any? Can you name one?
Again, as I mentioned, the
You
cars,
can't.
the cars.
Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it on that. All I'm saying is, it's a health concern. I have
I
a
understand,
family.
but I wanted to just let you know
Okay.
that I have received the correspondence and I have
Yes.
shared that with the committee, that there has been expression about concerns about noise and pollution. I had said that at the beginning of this meeting. That pertains to the correspondence. I've acknowledged receipt of your information that you've provided. I understand that you are
Okay.
concerned about
I
that.
have another concern.
Yes.
So I read an article about the construction that's going on by that 4th of July house,
There
okay?
is
Those
construction that's.
abutters
there is
had concerns, and I
Correct.
feel like they didn't get help. Who's gonna help me when I have concerns?
So as I
If this
mentioned.
goes through?
So I respectfully would just say to you that the town has worked with the abutters and has communicated, but again, it is a situation where if people aren't happy about a building being built adjacent to them,
Yeah.
they may not be pleased with every decision that the town has made or that a committee has made.
Who's gonna help me if
So
I
what
have
I would say to
issues?
you is if you recall,
Who do I contact?
if you recall, Mark Abdella from Fontaine had expressed very openly to you and others in the meeting that his construction team would be working with the abutters and that you would have proper communication. He made that commitment. He went out into the hallway when we were at the north site, spoke with several of your neighbors.
So I'll
and
contact
pledged
him then.
to,
If I
it
have
would
an
be
issue,
part
not
of
you
Mark's-
directly, him? Or,
I'm
I don't know
available.
what OPM,
I'm available to you all the time. There will be a project site person which will be clearly identified. You will be communicated with how to get your questions and comments answered.
so maybe it should be you, Eric, and Fontaine.
If the project,
If I have an issue.
if the project passes, there'll be a communication
Yeah.
protocol
Correct,
plan
that's right.
Okay.
outlined.
I'm concerned about the pickup line. It's a very big concern for me. I want to make sure I'm going to get help for that. I don't want to be in my yard inhaling all that exhaust. Is someone going to help me with that?
We absolutely have that concern noted and we continue to look at the site plan. Yes.
So I want you to know that from the moment that you brought up, with the first meeting when your husband was there, you weren't there, and the meeting that you came
I was
up,
sick, yes.
we as a group have made it very clear to the design team that part of their mandate moving forward is to try to find ways to mitigate the impacts of the traffic to the abutters. And that's, and to mitigate the impacts of the schools to the abutters. And I think there are some steps that have already been taken in the design plan, but as we said, it's 30% right now. I think you have brought through the emails that you've sent to me and Judy, you've brought to our attention some options of things that can be done. I think, you know, I am not a design professional, I'm not a landscape architect, but I can say, things like, you know, like, green screening, things like appropriate fencing, there are things that we can do to create a buffer between the edge of that roadway and your property, to the extent that we can. And I can commit now that we're gonna continue to have those conversations and talk to the design team about making sure that we can do everything that we reasonably can to try and create that buffer.
I just don't want to be forgotten when the time comes. I am not moving.
I will tell you, I think about you every
Plenty
day.
of times I'm not moving again in my life.
I
I
get
can't do
emails
it.
every day.
Whenever I look at that site plan, I think about what, you know, it's not just about you, because I think about the folks in Arlene Ave too, because those are the two places where this project is having the most impact on the abutters. And those are the places where we specifically asked, and Ronnie can tell you, because I've asked him multiple times, we specifically asked the architects to think about what are the things that we can do to try to mitigate the impacts of this project on the folks that are on Arlene Ave closest to the back of the building where it is 3 stories high, and the folks like you and your neighbor who are the folks that are closest to that entrance. And you know, my hope is that we're gonna have a lot of conversation about it and a lot of good ideas that come out of it in a way to create a screen that's going to, you know, try to both keep out the noise and keep out, you know, and block the,
It's a big concern
you
for me.
know, the air quality.
Yes, it's a very big concern.
I don't want you to think that you've been forgotten.
Okay.
We really,
I appreciate
we
that.
really are thinking about that, and I can say from my perspective, I don't want to speak for everyone, but from my perspective, I'm committed to make sure that we have those conversations and make sure that if this gets built, it's done in a way that we're thoughtful towards the folks who are being impacted by that. And that's you guys. So I can make that commitment to you that we're, you know, on every step that we're going to take going forward in this design, we're talking about the site, we're going to be talking about how is this impacting the abutters and what can we do to mitigate that impact and create some sort of transition between that roadway, and we've talked about things about before we a little further away. Is there, you know, tree screening? Is there physical screening? Are there things that we can do to make that as least impactful as possible?
Yeah, okay, thank you, I appreciate that. My last question is, how do votes get counted? The first day, the second day?
So in terms of town meeting, they have tellers that are gonna be there to be able to count, and then the town clerk's office is in charge of elections and town meeting. So they will have counters that will be physically there counting the votes, and then the intent is.
With clickers or?
Not with clickers, they will physically be counting.
Oh,
And then there will be the intent, I don't wanna articulate the exact plan because it's still being worked on, but the intent would be potentially to have a second counter, and they would cross-reference to make sure that their numbers match. So there'll be, you know, a quality control exercise that will be part of the voting process to make sure that everybody's vote is counted. So that's on that's on the first day on Saturday. In terms of the ballot box, we actually have the actual physical machines that are basically inspected by the state. They end up doing, you know, practice testing. They have to go through a series of protocol to meet state guidelines to be able to run an election. It's very controlled and very regulated. We have election workers, we have wardens, we have the town clerk on site. We have backup plans in case a machine goes down. You know, if there's a power failure, I mean, they go through a series of steps and very systematically that they need to meet in order to be an approved voting location with the state. Everything from the building to the infrastructure, you name it, police presence, there's a whole checklist of things. And I can tell you that our town clerk is in our office multiple times every single day talking about it. I can also say to you that we are talking about abutters in town hall, Eric and I, every single day we talk about the school project. So I can assure you, I think about you often. I see your emails, and I am updating, you know, Eric, you know, lockstep every day. You know, I understand that you are very upset and very stressed about this, and I feel very badly about that. I truly do.
appreciate that.
Just to follow up, this is the same protocol for the local elections and the state elections, so it's not, where they're gonna use it's the same equipment that they use for any election in town, it's not different.
Yeah, thanks.
So I know that you are here as well. I don't want to swat you, but I just wanted to not acknowledge your presence and see if you had any questions or comments that you wanted to make.
Sure, Shepherd.
Okay, thank you.
I guess, my name's Christina Ossianair, I live at 325 Blueburn Street. And I guess just a comment, not really a question, and actually kind of to like echo that. I was on the vision team back in 2022 when we first were meeting for the Shriners, putting this whole not thing together. We were just parents, but there were abutters there. And I can't remember specifically their names, but I just think we, in an effort to be as transparent as possible, we've actually not been transparent because we've been, I love your metaphor of the carry-on that has become a 9-piece luggage set. I feel very proud of the work that all the building committee has done, that the vision group did, that the select board, that everybody has been conscientious along the way. And I don't think we've communicated how conscientious we have been because we don't want to toot our horn. But like you said, we need to be neutral. We cannot use rhetoric to but there have been so many conversations to mitigate the false disinformation. And I don't want to say throw a bone, but is there any way perhaps in a video rendering, could it say if you aren't a butter, here, we are looking at traffic patterns. Just to kind of articulate, we have talked to teachers, we have talked to students, we have talked to parents, and we have had a coffee chat with a few of you people, folks. And just to kind of express that human hand, because I heard her say that I just heard about this in January, which is wild from my perspective, because I have been following this religiously since I got that very first email about volunteering to join the cause back in 2022 or 2021. And there were so many conversations about if we consolidate, you guys know this, I'm not going to reiterate it, but there were conversations, can we do it on Blueberry Street? And I'm not gonna lie, I live on Blueberry Street, and I'm oh, I don't know if I want it on Blueberry Street, but it didn't work because of the drop-off, and because of the soil. But they're not in the weeds as much, so I don't know, it's so hard. I do think the website, to reiterate, I think that, I know you're triaging everything to figure out what the most important thing and the next step is, but if there's any way to make a rhetorically pleasing, visual, graphic, post those videos up, have some type of even my daughter will be in kindergarten next year, and I am very concerned about her going to middle school and half of them are on one side, half of them are on the other. I have friends who it's really unsustainable. And so we are on the precipice of something so wonderful. And obviously I'm wearing a t-shirt. We have money from the state. We are going to solve 3 problems with one stone. Will it be messy? Yes, but we've got a lot of folks working on it. And I don't know, that's my own public comment that I think we need to illustrate how conscientious everybody has been. Somehow make that user friendly, because the misinformation is clouding out all of the real work. And then also this has been a multi-year project. Your point about the timeline was really well, or somebody mentioned, I think we've been focusing a lot on cost, but I wonder if we should change a tactic and also talk about okay, if this is no, it's gonna take this amount of time to get the Wildwood online. It's gonna take this amount of time to fix the Blueburn Street, because people may not be realizing just how dire this actually is. But I appreciate all the hard work that everybody has been doing, and I just wanna say thank you, and obviously what will be will be. But the PR and the messaging of the project has had lots of good intent. But I don't know if we've had the positive impact that we need to kind of get it over the finish line. But we're working on it, so.
Judy, is there anything on the website specific to abutters?
That, an FAQ of how this affects.
I just wonder if we call, and I don't know if that's open a can of worms. I mean, we're trying to be transparent, but I'm just saying, I wonder if there's a, just a folder link that says for abutters that maybe.
Absolutely. So to answer your question, the answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the spirit and intention of what, you're talking about. I can't speak for everybody in the leadership team, but I can speak for myself. I always get nervous about putting people in certain buckets and labeling them, because people, if they're against something, they'll find, you know, a segment of the population will find like you're treating us differently than everybody else. But I will say to you, just to pick up on something that you had stated, this project's been out front and center in front of the public for a period of time. We've had town meeting votes, we've had discussions. In terms of the communication with the abutters, that did start direct communication with the abutters after the preferred option was identified. So we didn't have 18 options and do 18 different abutter meetings. It wasn't a productive use of time. We would be spinning cycles talking about schools and environments that may never come to fruition. Even when we got down to the 3 options, even though I've only been on the committee for a year, it wouldn't have made prudent sense to go do abutter conversations with 3 different, when we didn't even know if that was gonna be where it was gonna land. So once it was voted on by the committee to get to that preferred option, then the abutter piece came into play. Now, we've had 7 community forums. We've had 2 abutter meetings. We've been to the senior center once. We're going back to the senior center again because we haven't visited with them since the tax calculator and the tax impact came out. Back to the abutter piece. The reason why we chose the abutters, you know, and I'm speaking about them in a friendly manner, there was comment from the abutters, why did you have just us here? We want a bigger audience to talk with. Well, we were having the community forums. Those same abutters can plug into the community forum, can plug into the select board meeting, can plug into the town meeting. The doors are open for everybody to come to all of these meetings, right? We wanted to respect the abutters, being direct abutters to the 4 corners of the lot, have a very focused working group meeting with them to give them undivided attention. That actually received negative feedback from the abutters because we did that. We had genuine positive intentions of having it be all about them, and it didn't get received that way. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we are truly trying to please every segment of the population or to address the needs of concerned citizens to the best of our ability. You know, and it's easy for me to say it now because, you know, someone that may have an adverse opinion, we're not gonna please everybody through this process. And we are looking to build on a town-owned piece of land. This is not, you know, a transfer station, it's not a prison, it's a school. It's intended to educate students. It's probably one of the best things that this town does is the educational exchange between a teacher and a student. Everything about this is going to represent, you know, all the best things about Wilmington. We're just the committee that's trying to bring it forward with the best information, with the best price tag, with the best features and benefits, and hopefully convince people to see that this is a merit-based project that deserves to be voted in, whether it's fiscal, academic, you know, and that there's something in this building for everybody. So I really appreciate you spending the time to be here and, you know, stepping forward. It takes a lot of courage to come out and be such a strong, you know, supporter. And there'll be people that are not supportive, and we respect that. We just want, you know, people to make informed decisions that are fact-based and have all the information so that they can feel good about how they vote.
If I also may add, we're also not changing the use of the property. It was a school, it is a school, it will remain a school.
That's accurate too. Thank you. Anyone else before we bring to the close? Sorry not to spot you, but we are in public comment, so if you have anything that you wish to say, not that you have to, but I just didn't know.
Well, I thought I was coming from economic development. I thought this meeting was actually going to be over, but
Okay.
so if anything fun was happening.
Okay.
No, I don't have
Okay,
anything.
thank you.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to,
Can I just say one more thing?
yes.
You talked about the abutters meeting, and out of those abutters meetings, I know that, again, everybody wasn't happy with them, but we took everything that was shared on those abutters meetings, and we brought them back to the leadership group and this group, and we really focused on their needs. We added berms, we added trees, we added different things. We talked about changing the traffic pattern. Can we move things around, move the playground this way and that way? So we have taken the abutters' concerns, and like you said, we talk about them constantly in the leadership groups meetings. So there is never a point where we don't talk about this stuff. There's never a point, in a construction site, there's always gonna be someone that's unhappy, and and to live next to one is very difficult. So when you look at the town hall and the senior center in this school, it is very difficult between all the noises and sounds and vibrations that come along. So we talk about all of that. And it is gonna be difficult for that group that surrounds that property if this goes through. But the project at the end will be worthwhile to the community.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I know we want to wrap, but just briefly, back philosophically, like there are just like fundamental limits to how much we can reach people. You know, like I think this committee has done, even before I joined, but Judy, like a later edition, and I just I think there was no time in American history where we had like a perfect level of outreach to the community. In fact, I think now people have more of a voice than they've ever had. It's just that people don't, our newspapers and media ecosystem just doesn't convey information appropriately. So a government committee of volunteers and some paid members can only do so much to reach people. You will still be shocked, less so now, by the number of people you meet in the community who are like, what are you talking about? What is this? I've never even heard of this, and it's 8 weeks away. So, not to diminish, because yeah, like, we want to connect to people, but I think there is kind of like a fundamental limit to just how much you can reach people, unfortunately. So as long as we do we did our best.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, anybody motioning online at all, that trying to get our last minute attention? I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting that.
No hands raised.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to just take number 9 and just share with the group and with those listening at home that the next meeting for this building committee will be Tuesday, August 19th, 2025 at 6:30. The logistics of that will be forthcoming. I do want to share for the record that I will be on vacation that day and would be remote. So I will be working with the leadership team to have someone chairing the meeting. I know Vivian is my vice chair as well, so I appreciate that. So at this time, I would be looking to see if someone. Yes. Motion to adjourn. Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Absolutely. Diane Allen?
Yes.
Kate Bissell?
Yes.
Kevin
I
Kyra?
mention- I'm sorry to interrupt, that Mr. Bendel did join quite
thank
some
you.
time ago. Thank you.
Greg Bendel?
Yes.
Kevin Kyra?
Yes.
Michael Camosio?
Yes.
Justin Couche?
Yes.
Marianne Galesso?
Yes.
Nicholas Golden?
Yes.
Dennis Kelly?
Yes.
Lilia Maselli?
Yes.
Paul Millerani?
No, just kidding, yes.
Craig Minor?
Yes.
Judy O'Connell?
Yes.
Christine Pendergast?
Yes.
David Ragsdale?
Yes.
Eric Schlegel?
Yes.
Dr. David Thompson?
Yes, please.
And myself, yes. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Night.